A funny thing, and I remember meeting Richard Attenborough one time, your old friend
bless
Richard
him.
Attenborough,
Yeah.
and he was a sir and a lord and
That's
all
right,
sorts
that's
of
right.
things, right? So I said to a publicist, "What do I call him? I don't know what I call him."
Dickie.
And, well, he came in the room, and I said, "Mr. Attenborough, I'm not sure how I should refer to you," and he said, "Just call me Dickie."
Wonderful,
Exactly like that.
wonderful.
It's the greatest story.
Oh, lovely man.
Yeah.
Lovely man.
Congratulations on this film.
Oh, thank you.
And I was, before I went in yesterday to the Elgin, I saw you pull up, and then you came over and spoke to the fans, and you signed an autograph for a woman who walked away so excited that it warmed my heart to see it. Remember those old films of the Beatles you used to see when people with the girls would scream it?
Yeah.
She was that excited.
Oh, that's lovely.
How does that make you feel, that sort of reaction?
It doesn't. The important thing for me is to tell the story. I'm sure I'm a storyteller. I'm sure that's the right place for my DNA to be. Right. And if it means that she's heard the story and it touched her, then I'm delighted.
Right.
There's a story. Something happened to me and it stayed with me forever, and it was a beautiful thing that happened. I had the privilege of playing Hamlet, which Michael Attenborough saw and then told his dad, if you ever get the money, I've seen the guy who should play Gandhi. So I was playing Hamlet for the Royal Shakespeare Company, and I was walking, he was always in my head. It's a very all-consuming role. I was walking across Snitterfield, where he himself used to walk. It's an open field just outside of Stratford-upon-Avon, which you may know. You may know the town. Beautiful town. And a lovely young woman was at the opposite side of the field, seemed to be walking towards me. So I decided to tack to my right to avoid her feeling that I was intruding on her space. She tacked to her left. In other words, she mirrored me. And then I went the other way, and she mirrored me. So she was determined to meet me in the middle of this field. And I can still see her face to face. She said, "I saw Hamlet last night. How did you know about me?"
That's interesting.
It's never left me.
Yeah.
So something must have gone right in there, through the sternum, and said, "I know."
Yeah. Well, that is the connection.
That's the connection.
That's the connection that, when it works, that the audience makes, or the actors make with the audience. And that's why I think that young woman yesterday was beyond herself. It was so interesting to see. I love seeing it. I love that kind of enthusiasm. As someone who covers a film festival, as someone who is, we've all seen this jaded thing. It's day 8 and we've been seeing 500 movies. I loved the enthusiasm.
So do I. I love it very much. And if it means that through storytelling something has been shifted, healed, touched in her, great. Good.
You take on a variety of roles. The new one, Darwan, is just another flower in the bouquet. Tell me what it was that brought him in. I loved this movie because I thought that it was a cross-cultural study, that it was a story of a great friendship, that it was a story about a lot of things, and I love that it's sweet. I love that there's a real sweetness to it. What was it for you?
I think in a really beautifully fashioned play or screenplay, you have a feeling that the gods look down and say, "I'm going to bring you two together." I love that idea in mythology that the gods look down and send somebody to somebody. And it is only through very unfortunate, heartbreaking circumstances that she finds herself in a taxi. Heartbroken. I am driving a heartbroken woman. and a business card appears, and then something else appears, and then I'm at the doorstep, and a letter is left in the back of a cab, and we've got the same shoes on. Just look at that. and I love the way, as in all great stories, the little coincidences are the gods guiding, bringing people together for some purpose. And here it's not for a great romance, it's to heal. It's to open doors. Here is a warrior who ultimately confesses to his newfound pupil, I don't know how to talk to women. You're good with words, tell me how to talk. What shall I buy her? What shall I... Wonderful that he, in his wonderful Sikh bubble of masculinity, is able to say to an American woman, help.
And I think in many ways that's where I think that's one of the things that the audience connects with in this thing is the real relationship, the primal relationship between them, I think.
And part of that primal relationship, I love that phrase that you've used, is her eventual ability to say, you're a decent man, you're a good man.
Yeah.
Having probably vomited out the whole male sex in rage.
Yeah.
And then the gods have said, well, actually, they're not all like that.
Right.
Of all the people in the world she should then meet in her crisis, it's Darwan.
The right man.
The right man.
The right man.
The right man. Yeah.
When you started that story, I thought you were going, when you were saying with the gods sending it, I thought you were going to say actor to part. Because maybe it's not quite as spiritual as
maybe
that,
it's not. I don't know. And I don't know where they are. I don't know whether they're inside me waiting to come out, or whether they're outside of me, whether are they hunting me, am I hunting them? I don't know. I love to be surprised by a script.
Yeah.
And I was very pleased and delighted by the opportunity to play what Patricia's character coins as a good man.
Well, there was a lot. I looked before I saw the movie yesterday. I Googled it. I Googled you in the movie. And there were lots of pictures taken during the, I guess, paparazzi photos of him wearing the turban, and lots of comments. He's trying something new. He's doing something, and I thought, he's an actor.
Yes.
This is what you do. You inhabit someone for 6 or 8 weeks or however long it takes to make a movie, and you hope people like it and you move along. But it was interesting to read.
It is a phrase I've also come across in situations like this, where I have to deal with somebody saying, so this is a departure for you.
Right.
I think, departure from what?
Yeah. From Gandhi to the whackness to
Sexy beast. This is what I do.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I love the variety of that. I love the idea that you seem so kind of joyful in the idea that you get to have this variety in your life.
It is joyful.
Yeah.
It is joyful. I don't know. As I say, I don't know whether they're all locked up, curled up inside me like a coiled spring, or whether they're outside of me. But I do. It's thrilling to open a script and say to myself, "There you are."
Right.
And yet, seconds before, I had no idea that I might be interested in playing that particular person.
Right.
And then suddenly, I'm allowed to breathe life into an extraordinary situation, dilemma, passion, responsibility, ethic. Suddenly I'm allowed to. Like Shutter Island, the doctor I was allowed to play, who is one of the men I've played who is absolutely capable of unconditional love, that he will do anything to save that patient and admit that he's failed.
Right.
and the tragedy of the lobotomy when he has to let go. But, you know, people were actually saying, you were the bad guy in the movie, weren't you? I said, no, actually, I was the good. Oh dear.
But you can't judge the character, though.
I never do.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to say, well, yes, I'm going to play him as a villain, because I don't think villains really know that they're villains. Occasionally you might get a guy who goes, yeah, I'm not a very good guy. But I don't think people generally look at themselves and say, I'm a bad person, or I'm something like that.
Well, my character in Sexy Beast, very, very clear to me almost from the first day of shooting and inhabiting that body, that he was an abused child, definitely. An unhealed, unloved, unnurtured, abused child. And that his scream from within was, I love you, why don't you love me?
Right.
And everything fell into place. Once I decided, I'm going to look after you, because you're wounded, and it's my job to look after you. The audience might be horribly shocked by what I do and laugh sometimes, and then sometimes think, oh dear, I know that pattern.
Right.
He's hurt, deeply.
I think that's it.
Oh.
I think that.
One more.
Oh, one more?
Oh, yeah, one more. Sorry. You were just
What do you hope that audiences, when they walk out of Learning to Drive, how do you hope they feel? Or does it matter to you how they feel because it's such an individual thing?
Well, it's a good question, and I don't want to dodge it. At the same time, we don't want to imprint anything onto what they may or may not see. I always hope, whenever I leave a great art gallery, my vision's altered.
Right.
Whenever I remember going to see the Impressionists, and the light was different when I walked out. Everything looked different when I walked outside the gallery. And I hope that just for those wonderful few seconds or even minutes, that the world looks different when they leave the cinema.
My wife went to see a movie called Whiplash last night that's playing in the festival, and I had seen it some weeks ago, and I recommended it to her, and she called me right afterwards, and she said, I feel like running down the street.
Oh, great. There you go.
Fantastic.
That's
right?
great.
It's such a
good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, I love that response to that movie.
Yeah. It does alter your vision just for a little while.
Absolutely, it does.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, Sir Ben, thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for this movie.
And God bless Dickie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have never